Hi, welcome to my Québec City podcast. My name is Alice. I'm a Sec 3 at St. Patrick High School. Today I will be interviewing Scott Kingsland about his life and his experiences. Please enjoy. How are you today, Scott?
I'm fine. It's a good day.
So, why are you here today, Scott?
I'm here because I did a project very similar to this with VEC about 35 years ago when we videotaped senior citizens in Shannon, Valcartier, St. Bridget's, just to get something visual and something recorded before their stories were lost.
And now you've come the full cycle. You have become the senior citizen. Well, not senior citizen.
That's right. Everybody gets older, I think, every year. But that's part of it. You advance, you get older, you have new experiences every year.
So I have here your little paper, and you were at the beginning of the fall.
I was at the beginning of VEC. It was first starting out. There was a group of about 35 people who were very involved in the community and collectively got together to find out how we could join our forces to make a much more vibrant society for the English people in Quebec.
We're going to start at the very beginning of the story. Where were you born? Where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia. Wow.
In a small town called Bible Hill.
Religious, I'm assuming.
No, I don't know why it was called Bible Hill, but it was across the river, the Salmon River from Truro. My parents were born in Montreal.
And they moved down to Bibleville?
Yes, they did, because my father was working at the creosote plant. And before that, my grandmother actually was from Quebec City.
So you have origin from here? My
grandmother's side of the family all stayed and lived here in Quebec City.
What got you into wood sculpting? What was the first piece you ever made?
My wife, Françoise, was a tour guide. And she would visit the Paré workshop maybe 2-3 times a day with groups. And Mr. Paré was expressing a desire to retire. And he was looking for somebody to take over. My wife and I decided we would buy the business from him. And he lived upstairs, and we were downstairs. The workshop was there and all the tools and all the wood. And he started coming down and explaining to us how you do different techniques and how to sharpen the tools, how to pick your wood, how to do the designs. And then gradually we started taking over and doing all the work.
Was he influential a lot?
He was influential for the wood sculpting, yes. He's a man who, during his lifetime, decorated over 23 churches in Quebec.
Wow.
And the amazing thing is, all the tools that he used, I still have. So the tools that I'm working with are the tools that were used to do all this religious work. There's even in the St. Pat's Church, there's a sculpture of Jean Paul II that was done by Mr. Paré.
What was the most meaningful piece you've ever made personally?
Well, every piece has a special value to it. Many people think that if you're working on a big piece, you get a satisfaction when you finish. But when you're working on small pieces where you're doing 20 a day, that same satisfaction you're getting, but 20 times, because you head out with an idea, and when you complete it and it's finished and it's exactly what you wanted to do, you sort of say, oh, right, did it. So if you're working on small pieces, you get that feeling 20 times, 30 times a day. Big pieces might take 3 weeks or 4 weeks to do. But it's the same feeling, the satisfaction, no matter how large or small, that here's what I want to do, and at the end, you did it. It's like anything. I mean, when you're in school and you have to write a term paper. Oh, I know. And then but when you finished it, you bring it to the teacher and you say, I get the same thing. Also, I'm involved in a man's cooking group in Quebec.
Do you enjoy cooking?
Yes, I've been a member since 1995.
Wow.
And once a month we get together. We're 60 guys, and we cook with a chef in the city. And I've managed to work with over 90 different chefs in Quebec City. Each chef brings something to the group that you may have never seen before. And that technique, you bring it home and you try it. And like I said, I actually have in the trunk of my car right now every recipe that was ever done since 1995.
My stepmom is a chef. She used to work on yachts for the really rich people, so her cooking's always great.
So there again, at the end of the meal, you get that satisfaction.
Yeah, you finished something.
Did it. I worked for the Chronicle Telegraph for a long time, too.
And was there a piece that you did for the Telegraph that really stuck with you?
At that time when we were there, it was a weekly like it is now. And the day of the first referendum, that was on a Tuesday, and we wanted to publish on the Wednesday. So we worked doing photos at all the different sites in the area, getting pictures, and then we had to go back to the studio. And at that time, you actually had to put all your paper in a solution and develop the pictures and then print them up. And we worked through the night, and we got our texts in. And on 9 o'clock on the Wednesday morning, the day after the referendum, the newspaper was out. And then we had worked all night, but we got it off online. That was
and then again, you had that satisfaction feeling, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And you work at St. Lawrence?
I worked at St. Lawrence for 35 years. I was a student there. I started off in the second original building, which is on Wolf Avenue. We moved into what was called the old bowling alley. And that was between Place Laurier and Place Sainte-Foy. It used to be a roller skating rink. And we were about maybe 400 people, but everybody knew each other. You couldn't get away. It was rather unique because the building we were using had the post office in one side, and it had a Kentucky Fried Chicken so you could smell it all in the building all morning. And eventually that shut down, and it was opened as the Houblonnière. The Houblonnière was the first tavern for women and men in Quebec City.
And what exactly is St. Lawrence about? What was the big idea of?
The environment is terrific. The people are extremely friendly, extremely helpful. They try to maintain a sort of a community feel when you're there so that you don't feel like you are a number. You're part of a group. You meet all your teachers. You get close with your teachers and the other students that you're working with. And there's not many large cliques that happen. I mean, everybody was together. We were in the beginning stages. We would organize parties and dances in bars every weekend.
That's really cool.
And I met so many people that I do know who are former St. Lawrence people. We stay in touch. It was the original social media.
I was raised in a community where everyone knew each other and everyone helped each other. It was a whole little circle, and I love that idea. So I'm so glad to be here talking to you today. Is there anything you would like to say to our audience or any last words you would like people to hear?
Well, thank you for the opportunity to do this. As I had mentioned earlier, I got involved because of doing the same thing 30 years ago, and I found it extremely interesting, and now I'm working on the other side. Hopefully, some of the thoughts that people are listening to say, yeah, I remember doing that, or I remember that person, or, it sort of says, fond memories. It's not just when somebody dies, you have to say, they had such an influence on my life. It could be whenever you hear them, whenever you think about them.
Thank you so much for listening to my Quebec City podcast. It was an absolute honor to have Scott on today. We loved hearing about his experience and life, and I really hope you enjoyed it. Have a great day.
You're listening to My Quebec City 50 Plus Edition.